exactly. So,
Everybody,
oh,
can you hear me okay?
yes. Well, I'm skipping that one for now.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Listen, okay, first off, I don't know if it was a presentation. This was a little bit last minute, but of course, the Manifestor Women's Retreat has a special place in my heart because it's probably the biggest retreat I ever put on was the first one that
Mhm.
we ever did, and the biggest retreat period I've ever done in my whole life. And it was really a growth experience to be able to bring so many manifestor women together. And that experience has left a mark on me and clearly has, blossomed into a legacy. Being able to pass it on to such capable hands, and you guys are keeping it alive every year. That's beautiful. Um, so I don't have a real presentation,
Mhm.
but I just felt like talking because I've been feeling quite chatty recently. For those who don't know me, my name is Adrienne Roach, and I started what really was just a Facebook group called ManiSisters. ManiSisters is here to serve Manifestor women in our individual and collective liberation. So we get together and do all kinds of things. So my favorite thing to do is get together with other manifestors and share knowledge, wisdom, experiences, and to fellowship with manifestors. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can do as manifestors. Um, I do have some gifts and goodies that I'll be giving out along or around this call. Like usually, I serve manifestor women, so I know there will be all kinds of other people that join the call, hopefully. But I just want you to know that that's who I'm here for, and that's what Manifestors does at this time. Who knows what the future may hold? And today, I wanted to talk about loving a manifestor woman. And I wanted to take it from several angles because I've been loving manifestor women for a really long time now. Since I began that Facebook group, that very humble Facebook group, when I met Nova, and just a few years before that, I met my very best friend in the world, who is a manifestor woman. She is a an emotional manifester. My best friend. She's a 4-6 on the Cross of Eden. And I remember the day that I met her. I came to her house to learn about psychedelic mushrooms. And she was having a lecture at her house. It was very unique. And I remember walking onto the porch. And when she opened the door and she reached out to embrace me, we embraced far longer than two people who really had only ever interacted on Facebook. And I like had maybe known her on Facebook for like a couple months, like not long. We had not developed the depth that was there, but I knew she was my sister. And from that moment forward, that's when my love affair with manifestors started. It started when I actually walked and encountered a woman who was so unique, and so it just felt so like home to me. And she already knew she was a manifester. I didn't know yet. It wasn't until a little bit after that that I found out that I was a manifester, and we both were manifestors, and we kind of looked each other in the eye because like she laughed and told me a couple of days ago we were on the phone catching up, and she's like, "You remember, like you visited, and then like 2 days later you came over with your daughter." Yeah, I it was like, I was like a proud mama cat, like bringing my little kitten over, like, come meet this lady who we love now, because we're gonna love her and you're gonna love her, and we just love. And from that point forward, I had a partner. I had someone to do things with. I had someone who could share my experiences. And I had someone who actually healed my sisterhood wound and whose presence, created for me a mirror so that I could learn to love myself and to blossom into myself. So when I think about loving a manifestor woman, the first thing I think of is like simply showing up. And I think that I don't know if we all heard this, but if you're a manifestor, you may have heard manifestors don't show up. I've heard this, like it's hard, we don't show up. It's like herding cats. And it is kind of, except when the vibe is easy, except when the only expectation is that you're showing up as yourself. When it's that easy, there's no muss, no fuss. You get all the manifestors in the world. Everyone shows up when it's just that easy. The other really profound thing was she and I became study buddies. And that's one of the things I tell manifestors all the time. I'm a 1-3. I love studying by myself. I'm an ego manifestor. I'm just going to get it done. But there is nothing like having someone to have deep discussions with or to learn something new with, for someone to introduce you to a new concept or something, a new rabbit hole to go down, and to go down together. Because as manifestors in our dark and compact and closed auras, it can be incredibly alone. And for some of us, it does translate to loneliness. But for some of us, if we can just scooch our tight little auras together, all of a sudden you are creating something, a deeper gravity, even sometimes breaking the fabric of space-time. So when you open up just enough to someone who has an aura like yours, suddenly you're creating magic. So when I think about loving a manifestor woman, I think about being close enough to another person's inspiration field so that those two inspiration fields commingle and co-create and make things that are even beyond your own magic, because we know each and every one of you manifestors magic, undoubtedly. But love a manifestor woman and see what happens. Get you another one. Put those auras close together. So, loving a manifestor woman has it's so funny because Nova knows things about me. We've been knowing each other for quite a few years now, and I've confided things to her that no one else on the planet, maybe besides my best friend and my daughter, no one knows these things except her. But I'm going to be making a couple confessions, because why not come clean and let other people know? Loving a manifestor woman is not always easy. I've had very difficult relationships with some manifestor women. And my heart has had to expand and contract and move around to accommodate that. Because my best friend, right? She gets to be my witness. It's nothing like having a 4-6, a ride or die 4-6 with you, because they see stuff. And she's like, I don't know why people are so weird with you sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know either, but I do know why. I'm a cross of tension. If I'm not fucking making it weird, I'm not probably doing my job. So if I've made you feel weird in the past, uh, I kind of like, I've kind of accepted it as part of my role. So loving a manifestor woman doesn't always mean loving her up close. Sometimes it means having to create distance, put space to make it so that it is safe to love her from afar. I'm going to tell you something. If you've ever felt like you've been rejected by me, right? If you've ever felt that, it probably was real, but it was also for either the good of you or the good of me or the good of the situation entire. And I always wanted to say this out loud, and I haven't been able to, for some of those women who have had to run cross the enormous blocking powers of this particular cross of tension is that there's always a road back. I have never actually closed the door. I just closed the door that you were being a battering ram at. And it's almost never, it's never both ways. Usually one way. You were coming this way. And I stopped that. Because honestly, the worst thing that you could have the manifester that is kind of obsessively trying to be in spaces where maybe they're no longer welcomed, or where they're just coming to bring friction. I'm the tension cross in my space. Not you, not you. So just to say this, if that has ever happened, there's always a way back. It has happened a couple of times. I have powerful manifestor women who there was some kind of tension there, and we've healed that. So there always is a way back. But if I shut the door on you, I did it for your good in mind. So to love a manifestor woman sometimes is to recognize when, instead of averting her eyes and minding and tending to her own internal stuff, she's all up in your business. If she's over on your, in your paper, eyes on your paper, if she's over here, sometimes the best thing you can do is close the door, draw the shutters, because obsession is never really good for manifestors. External obsession is not good for us. Everything you need to pay attention to as a manifestor is coming from on the inside. It's coming as inspiration. It's coming from the cosmos through you. It's birthing through you. If you find yourself obsessed with whatever is going on over there, you're engaging in a little bit of self-harm. I love you. Stop that. For your own good. Don't listen to me though. So to love a manifestor woman, and this has been really near and dear to me because for most of my adult life, I was like single. I mean, I would have love interests, I would have lovers, but I typically did not have, a romantic relationship that I thought was really like solid. That's something I was gonna, go on and be a thing. Except that's what happened to me. And as a manifester, when I found this developing and realizing that I was initiating something of this magnitude, I was so shocked. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And that's kind of what it's like to be a manifestor who has been taken by her authority, is you're doing things and you're just looking and you're like, is this what we're doing? Yeah, you might get the memo after it's already commencing. And that's kind of what has happened for me. And what that has resulted in is I've been in a relationship. This is the 5th year, going on a 5th year of a revived relationship with my daughter's father. And I've learned so much about being a manifester in this relationship with a person who is not a manifester. He's a manifesting generator. And everything that I needed to know about not being a generator was inside of this relationship. So sometimes loving a manifester is actually being close to the people, our arch nemesis. No, I'm just joking. I love generators, but being close to our energetic, maybe opposite, and being able to up close and personally see what I am not. So to love a manifestor, loving myself in the context of a relationship, was to let go of every little piece of the generator conditioning that had buried itself and burrowed deep inside of me. Like I had to let it go, because here I was in the presence of greatness. And I want to say, generators are great. Their greatness is so different from ours. And it really pushed me closer and closer to myself. There's nothing like the presence of a generator to help to sharpen you to be more like yourself. Because, whew, yeah. So loving a manifestor woman requires on his behalf a lot of acceptance and acceptance of non-understanding. Just recently, you guys, I have a Substack, and I've been Substacking the mess out of that thing, and really, exploring the idea of not being understood. And someone asked the question, why do we seek to be understood? And it's really easy to get into some like, I'm a powerful manifester and I don't need anybody to approve or understand me. But in reality, in our genetic code as a human being understood and seen was how we got accepted into tribes and got cared for. We walk around with an immense rejection wound, and not being understood is a big part of it. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to be understood. But to love a manifestor woman means to love what you don't understand. And one of the most healing things that has happened to me is having a person, and more than one person. My daughter, she's a projector. She grew up with me though. But having this man who knows nothing about human design, who's just a man, who has this weirdo reappear into his life, to be able to accept and love a force of nature. That's what it's like to love a manifestor woman. So I just wanted to, I don't know, wrap this up. I guess I'm keeping it together. I love you. I love you. I've been loving you a long time, Manifestor Woman. I only want the best for you, the way I want the best for me. And loving a Manifestor Woman is like loving butterflies, right? If you love a Manifestor Woman, if you love a butterfly, you create a garden, places where she can come to rest, get hydrated, get some nectar, get her resources together, and be safe. If you love a manifestor woman, give resources, give her space to rest, admire her from afar. Don't try to pet the wings too much, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I love y'all. And I do have some gifts for all my manifestor folks, especially manifestor women. I just want to tell you about one big thing that we do every first Sunday. We have a witnessing. It's witnessing and sharing, and it's literally manifestor women getting together, expressing ourselves, and holding space to listen to others without having the responsibility of trying to fix anything. This particular exercise is very specifically made for manifestors because in a world where generator energy dominates, that means response energy. Response is responsible. Well, a lot of times manifestors have mistaken that their power has to be used to be responsible. We're not. And we can hold space for one another without being responsible. And we are also so often times shut down when we express ourselves in our fullness, whether it is anger or joy, rage, happiness, melancholy. When we say this amongst our normal folks, they want to fix it. You don't have to feel that way. They want to. When you are amongst us, we don't do that. We just let you get it out, and it's an amazing thing that happens when you get it out. So I'll put the link to that in the chat. I love you guys so much. And I think I'm complete.
Yeah, I had so much fun at the last witnessing circle that you did for us Manifestor Sisters. That was such a divinely guided call. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Um, I just, I'm just over here in the impact of the things that you said. I I cried when you were talking about how to love a manifestor woman.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say words, and I'm just like in it right now. I wanted to say I really appreciate what you said about like the different kinds of loving a manifestor woman. You know, there's the sisterhood, healing sisterhood.
Mhm.
That was potent. And then in romance, there's just so many different ways, so many different types of relationships that manifestors have. And yeah, even and I say romance, but like that's also true in parenting. It's true in, you know, as a child, like how I would have loved to have been loved by my parents, how I'd love to be loved by my siblings, how I'd love to love my man, manifestor brother. Like I'm yeah, trying to find words, but I'm actually just really speechless right now.
And I'm just gonna hang out here with y'all just for probably because I know the way that the cadence here is about an hour to hour. And if anyone has any questions or comments, I'm all ears because this is important work.
Yeah,
And
it
that's why
really
when you
is.
mentioned this, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm in there. I'm in there like I'm in there because it's so important for us to um really not diminish the importance for manifestors to experience, especially other manifestors who are living their signature, who are being moved by their authority more often than not. There is no, you do not achieve perfection. I don't even know, like, there's no, I'm fully deconditioned. I've been studying human design for over a decade, and I got into my experiment. I went directly in. Um, and I have just recently, because I started this Substack, and I'll put the link to that in the chat as
Mhm.
well. I started the Substack because,
I'm gonna share your Substack actually
okay, thank you.
in the live stream on Facebook so
Okay,
people
cool.
can have access to it that aren't just the manifestors being here.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so like, um, so I've been doing this for so long, and I always admired people who I would see journaling. I have journals, but I doodle in my journals mostly. Sometimes there's written stuff in there, but usually it's almost like notes versus my own thoughts. But I realized I had been using Facebook and also some other electronic places to store my thoughts. And recently, when my daughter Zora, and everybody knows her, Zora is a projector, but she's my partner and she helps me do things. And I felt like writing. She's been writing all her life, and she's like, I'm going to start a Substack. And I went to Substack, and she actually had me preview something she was about to publish, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. What's back here?" And I got, get to exploring, and then I realized I had been collecting so much about manifestors, manifestor experience, and it is from my own perspective, but I do think that many of these things will be um, applicable to most people who are manifestors, but particularly the manifestor women's experience, because there is a difference between being a manifestor woman and being in a male body or being perceived as male. Um, with manifestor women, we are like, you know, if you're a pretty standard woman, you're subjected to all of the stuff that happens because of womanhood, right? This invisible experience that I think a lot of people, we understand it. That's why we have feminist movements and things like that. But there's fully 50% of the population who just we don't have the same experience as them. And so it's very important for us to be able to like acknowledge that and to allow that to be a part of our experience, because it is a part of our experience. I remember when I started ManiSisters, I was like, oh, I'm going to make a, just women's group. And the pushback from the co-ed group was so crazy because they were like, oh, why would you need a separate group? Being a woman is it's just your spacesuit. It's like, yes, if it's the body's life, this body is female. This body has the female experience, not just in its biology, but in its social constructs that go around it, and gender norms, and the way that women are expected to be this or expected to be that, to be nurturing or to be really good at things that I think that a lot of manifestor women, we're built different. The archetype of manifestor woman isn't like, I don't know, whatever they were writing about in like Disney stories. You don't get a manifestor Disney story until you like get to Brave. Okay, you know what I mean? Like or Moana. Like you don't get it until you get there.
Yeah.
and realizing like we've been shaped by all these previous paradigms, and it's very important for us to acknowledge that we do live in constructs, these social constructs, and it's very important for us to be able to face those down, because as manifestor women, many of us live counter to those. We are built different, and it's fine. It is fine. It has to be fine because it exists. This is the thing that we're dealing with. So I don't know. I love us, and I really am really excited about the things that I'm doing right now. There are some other things that I'm doing, but I don't want to promote any stuff. What I really want to do is promote the sisterhood and the broad support of Manifestor Women gathering, because the more we do this, and there are, of course, different possibilities of what that can look like, but the more we do it, the more people will do it. until we like take over. No, we're not taking over. We're retiring, remember? But like,
Right.
Yes.
but for us to be able to have that inclusion that many of us long for, we talk when people say belonging, and look at a manifestor. Well, you don't belong. You belong on the edges. You're, an edge dweller. But here's the thing: when the edge dwellers get together, they have their own special club, and that's what this is. We do belong. If we belong at the edges, then we can link hands at the edges.
All the snaps.
I feel like we should have named this Adrienne Preaches. Like this is just, I'm just like, preach, like keep it coming. I'm here for it. I'm here for the sermon.
Love this so much. And you know what? I want to jump in here and I want to give a little bit of a testimonial, because I know we'll at some point have other sisters come in and share their experience. But Adrienne, and I've shared my heart with you before, but man, when you talk about healing some wounding amongst sisterhood, I can't tell you how much anxiety I had that first year going out to Colorado and wrapping my head around spending intimate time and space with 20 other women. Like, what? That just did not register as safe in my body in any way, shape, or form. But it was something about knowing, just other manifestors are going to be there. So I have to, be able to witness this and be a part of it. And how much was healed for me just by showing up. And how many times in that weekend, in that experience, that I might come along with my little Phoenix self and run through something and then like share what Adrienne was thinking before Adrienne even spoke it, and like realized how I didn't even know what I was doing. But Adrienne just like lovingly called it out and celebrated it in this way that I was like so aware. I felt so loved and so aware that maybe next time I won't do that again. And it was just such this loving way of being seen and held. And there was no way that how much recognition I felt amongst these other women. All we did was answer a call. We didn't necessarily know what was going to happen or what it was going to become or any of that.
God, no.
We just did a call. And you said something a while ago about like, perfectionism, and nobody reaches that. And I was just talking to Nova before this all started about truly what it means to be in divine surrender to the flow. We have to sacrifice the perfections. That's not even real. It's not even supposed to be a thing. And so this here and collaborating with other manifestor women specific has been that thing that like, sharpens my edges, rounds them out, and allows me to drop that perfectionism and be in this divine flow, initiating the shit out of everything, everywhere. And I love it so much. I'm so grateful. So grateful. I could not have found this anywhere else but amongst other manifestor women. I truly believe that.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. I wanted to put my video on. Yeah, I wanted to speak to the hilarity of showing up for the first Manifestor Women retreat. And like, I literally drove my car into the property. Like, I don't even know where I am. I don't even know. I didn't look up anything. I don't know where we're sleeping. I don't know what anything looks like. I just was like, I am meant to be here for this thing. Adrienne, I'm here for all the things that she does. I don't know, for a very long time now. And I was just like, Manifestor Women gathering on a mountain together. I'm there. What's happening? What are we doing? And what it became, like we could never have like anticipated what it has become, and what a role it would play in our lives. Yeah, it's so perfect that the kickoff to this call started with Adrienne, because the Manifestor Women retreat started for me with Adrienne. Yeah, how to love a manifestor. I learned how to love myself and how to love other manifestor women through partly through witnessing Adrienne love manifestor women the way that she does. One of great joys in this life to get to not only bear witness to everything that Adrienne does and offers and her impact, but to also get to be in it with her in so many ways. Sisterhood is generally come pretty easy for me, in the sense that I have the channel of community, and I'm good at knowing when somebody's my tribe and circling with people, but I've never experienced anything like Manifestor Sisterhood. It just chemically is different. It just is. And what an honor it is to show up in service over and over again for this retreat, and for all the projects with Adrienne and everything that moves through me in service to the Manifestor Women. In my world, I have a disproportionate number of Manifestor women who I call my dear close friends, more than I think most people do. And there's a reason. Like, there's definitely a somatic sisterhood that happens between us that is just without words. There's a way that we just know each other and can just kind of like, oh, like unbutton the pants and let the belly hang out with each other. And there's something so special about that. Getting to be ourselves, getting to be impacted and initiated by each other. The co-initiation that happens when you get manifestors together and they start something like, oh my gosh, the energetic movement, the stuckness shifting to flow again. Yeah, I mean, I return to that mountain every year for what feels like a manifestor reset, because I know the importance of manifestor women and manifestor spaces in my life, and to have it in the physical body rather than just virtually. Oh, this third line body needs it. And it's like energetic hygiene for me every year. And it would not be what it is today without Adrienne and the initiation of her love for Manifestor Women that really has birthed it into what it has become. So then to have her on this call and hear her speak these words that I've heard before, but they're really hitting right now. They're really hitting today.
I want to thank you so much for the acknowledgement, and I want to acknowledge how beautifully you and the cohort of Soma Sync, BB and Alanaya, who were of course at the first retreat, how you have so beautifully held this and moved forward, and being able to witness everybody blossoming, all of us, each and every one of us blossoming and becoming. And before I head off, I want to read some words, because this is one of those little snippets from Toni Morrison that just reminds me of what it's like to be with a manifestor woman. I, I I remember the first time I sent this to my best friend Makiva. I'm like, Makiva, this is you. This is what you do for me. And she's like, you do it for me too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, stop. We're so good. Anyway, she is a friend of mine. She gather me, man. The pieces I am, she gather them and give them back to me in all the right order. It's good, when you got a woman who is a friend of your mind. And I love that quote because so often in human design, we talk about the mind. The mind is how we interface with each other. And when a woman is a friend of your mind, she understands and knows how to interact with that, not agitate that, and to put the mind to rest so that we can have that somatic experience. So I want to thank y'all so much for inviting me to this, giving me the space, giving me the first space. I'm like, is it 25 in transit right now? Let me just go look. If it's not,
Well,
she must be. She's coming, and if not, Nova brings it to the call every time.
I was
Anyway,
gonna say.
I just want y'all to know I love you so much, and yeah,
I feel loved by you, which is a big fucking deal. And I love you so fucking much. And thank you for this. Thank you for this.
All right, peace, everybody. Bye.
Peace. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Wow. That was really powerful.
Yes, indeed.